My dear Gemini, great to see you. Come in. You know, I've just been doing some spiritual work, and so I'm really looking forward now to doing your reading for October, your Gemini October reading, and we'll be using a lot of astrology because the zodiac is important, and obviously the tarot cards as well. You know, it is good to see you. It's particularly good to see those of you whom I have seen before and to say hi, from the United States and Canada, from the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Iceland, the Philippines, India. Hi to everybody in India. It's great to see you. And of course, great land down under, Australia, and its sister, New Zealand. Let's go and see what the energy has to say for you today. Let me just do this. Vinum spiritus per me, dirige me in caritate. Okay. That will do the job. Now let's see what is in store for you in the month of October, Gemini. Let's have a look. What's his first card? 7 of coins. This, 5 of swords. This is what? The King of coins. Okay. Page of coins. Well, a lot going on for you, I think, this month. What it is, we shall see in just a moment. Finally, the Empress. All right, why don't you come? I'll bring a light over and shine it down. You come sit down next to me. That way, I can let you have a good look at the cards while I do the reading for you. All right, Gemini, now I think you can see these cards. Let me just reach behind and get my pen, because I think I'll use it to point out some of the features of this card. I'm going to deal first of all with this one down here, the Empress. The Empress being sitting here is overcoming this card as it's a major arcana. That's that it's sitting below. Well, here we have the Empress. Let's have a look at some of the features of this card. I think it's quite an interesting depiction, I think. The Empress sits majestically on a throne whose back forms a Gothic arch with wings and a clear blue sky. Now, on her head is a crown with 9 stars for the 9 muses of music, poetry, and science, and 12 stars for the houses of the zodiac. Her gown is red for passion, and this is tempered by the blue which flows around her, right, like fertile waters. Now she's holding a shield which is emblazoned with the imperial eagle. In her left hand is a scepter with an orb at the end of it. And this platform upon which she's sitting has a number of depictions here, quite reminiscent of that Renaissance period. They are, in fact, the depictions of the 7 liberal arts being, well, in order, I would say they are grammar and logic, rhetoric, geometry, arithmetic, what would this be? Music and poetry, along with philosophy, astrology, and theology. Really quite an interesting card, I think you'll agree. Now, what can we say about the Empress? Well, I suppose that the energy that I'm getting from her is that she is the mother energy, the female energy of the divinity. The divinity is whatever we may say it is, it comprises both the male and the female. The tragedy of religion as we have it is that there is the notion of God the Father or God the Son or God being a man, which of course leaves women with only a male God to look to. But I can assure you that that is not the case, that the God is feminine as well as masculine. I call this card the Daughter of the Mighty Ones. Now, she very much is Venus here, and here is the moon, which she has her foot upon, and has a great, I think, connection with fertility. She is talking to you about being in touch with the beauty of your life and of exploring, I'd say, your relationship with a mother or a mother figure is what I'm getting, or it may well be that you are called upon to be a mother, or you may well be a mother and need to bring about your motherly skills or act as a mother type figure to someone, providing them with nurturing care and skill. Now, this is a feminine aspect, of course, but it doesn't mean to say that it has to be limited to women. Nurturing, everybody has, males have femininity in them as well. It's just that they are predominantly male. Females have male energy in them as well. It's just that they are predominantly female. So I think that this is talking to you, saying that you will be quite an empathetic and caring personality during this period and be involved in nurturing others and yourself. And I think it is important that you do nurture yourself, because you give a lot, don't you? You give such a great deal of yourself, both in your work but also in personal relationships. And I think sometimes it's important that you be careful of overextending yourself, I think. There's just a thought coming through me at the moment, and it is this, that you are about me and through me. Your kisses are all at once in all places. The moist folds of your skin are open and engulfing and devouring the whole of me. Yet I am the gate, and the shaft of your burning and luminous love impales me, and rips me, and feeds me, even as your mouth, your touch, your womb swallows me up. Yeah. I think what we can say here is that you might find that there is a strong love for nature. You'll be a natural mother or mother figure here. Strong service orientation, I think. I don't think that anybody is going to be able to categorize you as being either intellectual or emotional during this period. I mean, you are a very intellectual person. You have a very strong, fine mind, sharp as a tack. And yet I don't think that people are going to categorize you as being intellectual or emotional. I think that you'll display both qualities during this period. And I think that you will be moving towards balancing your emotions. It's definitely a time to nurture yourself and deal with mother type situations. I think I would say that the beauty that you see in others, which attracts you to them, is really a beauty that you carry within yourself, and that you are in the process of unfolding and evolving your femininity. This may be the right time, as I say, to work through and clarify any unresolved mother conflicts. I'd had this thought in mind. I give and receive wisely. I realize that the capacity to receive is equally as powerful as the capacity to give. I value the healing power of beauty and harmony and love. I'm going to look at this card here now, which is the Five of Swords. Now, the first thing that I'll say about the Five is this. The Five for me deals with an energy that I suppose is withdrawing by nature. It holds back, it rations. The numerology of the 4 might be such mystically that it's about giving and over-giving, whereas the 5 is about pulling things back, about putting a boundary around something. It is mystically for me also associated with the planet of Mars, and I'd say that Mars can very often be quite impersonal. It can be, and the reason why, I'll bring it in closer so you can have a look. The reason why I say it's associated with Mars is because the 5 is associated with Mars for me and can sometimes relate to chaos and instability, to loss of directions. Let's have a look at the imagery on this card. Now, here we have a man, I would take it, who's lying underneath a sort of a ramshackle house or tent, and he's lying down with a hooker. When I say he's lying down with a hooker, I don't mean it in the sense that we might ordinarily mean that, but a hooker as being this device, as you would know, that, or as you were probably reliably informed, is something which is used to smoke opium. The swords, the heads of the swords, he has on his feet here, they've just caught my attention, these red curled slippers, which are kind of reminiscent of a sort of a decadent Raj in India, aren't they? In the swords, the hilts of the swords have figures on them which are kind of like vampires, which go to suck the life out of things. Well, what can I say? This card for me is really one which I think is kind of talking about, well, about fear, I think. It is for me, I mean, I'm looking at the astrology of it and I see Venus in the first decan of Aquarius, that 22nd of January to the 29th of January. Now, in ordinary astrology, Venus rules Taurus, which is an earth sign. But here we have Venus in the card ruling the fixed sign of air, being Aquarius. Now the two are at odds because Venus is a lover and not a fighter, whereas Aquarius is a rebel ruled by Uranus. And Aquarius is a fighter, usually for causes. So the individualistic, dispassionate nature of Aquarius clashes with Venus, which is really the planet of relationship and not of being dispassionate, but of passion and bringing things together. Venus is also, I think, overwhelmed by the fiery nature of Mars, which comes around as a result of this number 5 in the numerology for me. So we don't have astrological harmony, I don't think, in the card. Now, what I think is going on here is that there may be a time during a month where you could have a fear of a new, which is Aquarius, relationship, which is Venus, or fear on pushback of a new idea, which is Aquarius, that you are emotionally, Venus, attached to. I think that this is something that's going to be quite minimal during a month. The reason why I say that is the case is because if we have this major arcana card here, which is effectively throwing its energy over the top of it and diluting it. We also have on the same line here this 7 of coins, and this coins are earth and swords are air, and the elemental dignities suggest that earth and air are enemies and they operate to weaken one another. So both these cards are effectively weakened by each other, is what I'm getting. And so the normal effect of this card and of this card are going to be reduced. Anyway, let's return back to this Five of Swords just for the moment. You can just go there for the time being. So I think that what we really have here is that the essential element of the card is, a bit of reticence, a bit of fear, which kind of distorts your view of the present and of the unknown in your future. And I think that this could sometimes relate to what you think might be a betrayal or a sneak attack by someone you trust and don't suspect to be your enemy. Now, they could be an unfaithful partner, I hate to say, or a jealous person is really probably more what it's like. I'm really getting that feeling of jealousy coming around it for you here. And you have a lot of jealousy, I think, coming with you this month, because you're going to be very beautiful and attractive, and so that tends to attract jealousy, I think, from others. And I think that it could well be a person who is kind of sabotaging you around your back, or your fear may be the result of losing control emotionally due to previous hurts from relationships. Or it might be connected with the workplace, is something that I'm feeling, where you've had an experience that stops you from expressing yourself fully. That is, you've had criticism, I think, from people who are basically ignorance, and somehow or other I feel that it's kind of dented your confidence a bit, and so you feel reluctant to move things forward. But this card is saying that you should do that. You should move forward, because it wouldn't be here otherwise, as the warning is saying, forewarned is forearmed. So be able to detach yourself from it in the way that Aquarius can detach, as I say, and see the situation for what it is just being data, and don't take it personally. But certainly, if you can let go of your feelings of fear, then the energy which is bound up in what I see this structure to be here will be released, and it's going to propel you forward. The other thing I'll say is this, is that swords, they're really about mental things, and I think it's really more of a mental turmoil that you'll be going through rather than anything that's tangible. Although, because of the presence of Venus, as I see in the card, Venus in Aquarius, then it can spill over into the emotions because of Venus' presence. And Venus is, as I say, a lover and not a fighter. I'd bear in mind this: there is an angel, a being of consciousness, a conscious being that says, "See, I have loved your precepts." Well, it's the being's name is Ahel, and I'm jumping ahead. There's a Psalm 119, verse 159 in the book of Psalms in the Hebrew Bible in the Old Testament. "See that I have loved your precepts, O Lord. Preserve me as befits your steadfast love." Now, meditating on that brings a desire to lovingly, selflessly, and respectfully share your wisdom, right? And you've got that in truckloads. Share your wisdom with children and those younger than you. They don't have to be children. And the preacher in you will be silenced, and the teacher in you will be awakened. Now, I'm going to look at this Seven of Coins, because the Seven is, we were just talking about that, and let's have a look at it. The Seven is also diluted. The normal energy that I would see here is diluted because of the presence of the Five of Swords opposite it. They both operate to weaken one another, as I say. Now, the first thing I'll say is this, is that the number 7 numerologically is one that I really like, this Seven of Coins, because sevens to me represent advancement. They represent moving forward. They represent overcoming obstacles. They represent expansion and moving out. And in a nutshell, they actually represent victory. Victory in a material sense and victory in an emotional sense. And the planet which I have associated with the 7 is mystically the planet of Venus. Well, I think that this is really the Lord of success unfulfilled in a way. Let's have a look at the scene that's going on here. There are 5 gamblers at a table. They're playing cards, and actually what they're using, the cards that they're using are the Tarot de Marseille tarot cards to play with. Here is the Page of Swords, who's looking pretty despondent, thrown in the cards, he's lost. This is the Page of Cups, who's thrown down 3 but holding on 2, whatever appear to be winning hands. Here is someone who's won the hand and is rejoicing, throwing down the coins. This Page of Coins is looking up. Bewilderment and amazement at the coins there. And here the Page of Wands is saying to himself, well, I'm still in this game. I may have lost, but I don't think I've lost heavily, and I'm here to fight another day. Now, the coins going around them are a sleeping child. What's this one here? A box of treasure. Oh, this looks like a soul in purgatory. Yes. Here is the Chariot of Saturn. Here is the moon, full. Here's the lily, full. And the lily appears very often in things. And here is a tree bearing fruit. The lily, I think, appears in this card. Yeah, it does. And remember, if you look down here on this Empress, here was a lily that was growing up there. That's a sign of purity, as you would expect from the Empress, I suppose, and of the feminine energy. What can we say about this card? Well, I think that it's astrologically, for me, it is Saturn ruling the 3rd decan of Taurus at 11th to the 20th of May. I think there's possible that there could be delays in payments, maybe slow but steady growth is what I'm getting from it, possibly having to wait to receive money. I've got the feeling that you could be working through, or feel that you're working through something of a dry spell. Your ability to deal with things is being blocked, you might fear, from fearful expectations. And it's interesting because there's that link with this thing here, which is a card which is talking about fear, I think, and saying to detach yourself from it. Don't be afraid. Because I think what this card is saying definitely is step back and analyze the situation, because it's not the end of the world or end of the things. In fact, that you've got tremendous things coming forward for you this month, and I'll get to those cards in just a second. I think that there is another psalm in the book of Psalms that comes to mind, and I'm pretty sure it's Psalm 18 verse 47. The Lord lives, blessed is my rock, exalted be God my deliverer. Now meditating on that banishes the remnants of evil. The light of this name deactivates negative energy and will cleanse your environment. Now the presence of Saturn in here is partly giving rise to fear, and fear is a big part in us not moving things forward. I would say this though, if you've really been trying to get something done in a relationship setting with somebody, and you just haven't been getting back what you do need to get back from them, and you've tried everything that's possible to do, and it's been unsuccessful, then I'd suggest, and it doesn't just have to be a personal relationship, it could be a business relationship or a relationship at work, and it might be a time to just cut the strings and let things go. I think that is definitely the case. I'm just concerned that maybe what you'll think is that you've put everything into something and you haven't got any result, and it's like you just sort of stopped trying and because you feel like you've run out of energy, but that energy is sitting there in your life, and I don't want that to happen, because it's not something which is really meant to be there for you, given these other cards which are particularly good. Now the first one of them is this one here, which is this beautiful Page of Coins. Now Let's have a look at this page of coins, because the pages for me are esoterically earth, and they're in the suit of earth, so the earthy part of air, so earthy part of earth rather. So particularly grounded, particularly stable. Just looking at the figure here, well, even though it's a male, I very much get the feeling of court cards can be both male and female, but I'm getting a lot of feminine energy up around this card. Great big red hat on there, displayed with coins in the hat, sort of a military uniform, satchel holding briefcase. Well, here's a whole lot of litter left over from what has been probably some sort of a festival, and if I'm looking at the town that was in the background here and putting it in the Renaissance context, then I'd say that was Venice. And here is a big coin with the symbol of, it's the symbol of Mercury on it, just having a lock there, sort of a military uniform, but there's not a military context to the card. Well, this could well be you, I think. This could be very pertinent to you, because I'm getting around it Gemini. The other people who could be are an Aries or a Taurus. Very much that type of thing. Someone with living in Europe or with European heritage or African heritage, or living in Africa. I call this card the Princess of the Echoing Hills, the Rose of the Palace of the Earth. And although she's the lowest court card, being the page, in the lowest suit, being Earth, I think she carries with her the energies of all the other suits, and she transforms them and kind of reincarnates them all the way back through again. This is talking about someone who is beautiful and strong, pregnant with life, generous, kind, and benevolent. This is saying that you will, during this period, be following your own will or true purpose in life. So I think what this card is saying, where it's placed, is that you're going to be getting in touch with that most important aspect of yourself, right, and protecting it. Just like this military uniform, I think a soldier is out to get this impression of protecting the villages that may be around there. You may hear of a physical pregnancy during this period. I certainly get the thought here for you of the generation, the thought of new ideas. It's a very productive time that you're going to have after what for you may seem to have been something of a barren stretch. You're interestingly, I think you're going to be quite peaceful by nature, and you're not going to deal well with conflict during this period. So just be aware of it and try and avoid conflict, because I think you might fly into things, or conflict may have an adverse effect on you. That is, you emotionally. I'm very much getting domestic life around this card rather than career things. So I'm feeling that there is very much the case that there's going to be a strong emphasis on the home. That is, of building the home around the family, dealing with family members, decorating the home, gardens, and dealing with children, dealing with family members, things like this. It's a very, very productive card. In fact, it's really one of my favorites in the deck, to be honest. The energy that's coming up at the moment from it is beautiful, in the sense that you're almost a vehicle for the reincarnation and the recycling of all the good energy that's out there in the cosmos, and it's something which is coming through very strongly. Now here we have her father, if you like, the King of Coins, and the King of Coins is, well, he's seated on his throne. He's got some stuff here which looks like a compass, not one for, that is those things for working out geometry, not for finding out which way is north. So there's a scientific bent to this, a practical scientific bent. That's in his left hand. His right hand is holding the phoenix, which is all about rejuvenation and bringing things back. He's got around here there are 7 baskets, or how many baskets? Oh, I don't know, I can't count them on the run. What look like diamonds, gold rings. This is, what is this? Oh, crowns. Yeah, crowns, quartz crystals, pearls, gold coins and gold bars, and in the back, very well-tended fields showing a very well-tended kingdom. I think what this is saying to you really is that you may, the Lord of the wild and fertile land, I call him. I think people who may be important to you during this period are Virgos or Leos around here. The reason why I get Virgo is that because the first 2 decans of Virgo are ruled by the Sun and Venus respectively, and the Sun is required for crops and the nurturing of all these fields which are behind him, is what I'm getting. And of course Venus only complements that type of energy. I think what we're going to see here is that you are going to be intuitive, that you will be using your intuition rather than intellect during the period. And that's not to say that you're not intellectual, because you are very intellectual, but use your intuition during this period, and it's a good work ethic that's going to bring results over the longer time, over the longer term. This guy, I think, uses his intellect and a good work ethic to get by, which is going to assist you, I think. Be careful that you take an interest in things outside of work. He doesn't strike me as somebody who does take an interest in things outside of work. So don't become a workaholic. And I think it's also the case that you'll have a deep connection with Mother Earth. It's an energy which is slow, steady, constant, going to push you forward. It's talking about you building your material security over time rather than coming all in a rush. So I'm sad to say I don't think that you're going to be winning the Powerball or the lottery this month, but things are going to move forward for you thanks to him. That's the way it is for you this month. Well, there we are. There it is. The month of October for you. I really hope you enjoyed that reading as much as I enjoyed giving it to you. I think it's going to be a fantastic month, and you've got great things in store for you, so well done. All I can say is this, is that you've been absolutely brilliant. You've been fantastic, as you always are, and really the only thing that remains for me to say is this, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, bye for now.